long time no see. Welcome back to my channel. It's been a good couple of weeks, I think, since I last filmed a video. That's partly just because I've been really busy, and also I just kind of went on this mini cut. I wasn't really sure how much to share, how much you wanted to see, and yeah, it's been difficult with YouTube and starting it up to actually kind of get much traction and to kind of, yeah, I don't know what I'm trying to say, like get people to see it, like to be able to kind of reach a certain amount of people that I want it to reach. And that's just the nature of the game, really. But I suppose it's demotivating when it takes so much time to make the videos and everything like that. But so yeah, actually, just while I'm at it, so if you are watching and subscribe and like, that really does help me kind of reach a few more people. But anyway, I thought I would come back and do another video and just kind of do a little bit of an update on the mini cut that I've done, because I've now finished that mini cut, so I'm now back to maintenance. So I will chat to you a little bit about that later and how that went and whether it affected my period or not, and just how I felt and how I approached it, and then also kind of what I'm doing now. And I want to keep sharing videos on HA, and that's kind of where my passion lies, I suppose. So I'm going to keep trying to bring as many videos as I can as possible, but sometimes it's hard to know what people want to hear, and I feel like I've already done quite a lot of videos. So if there is anything you feel like I haven't done, then yeah, let me know below and I'll definitely do them. So I've just done a gym session. So I'm actually on a deload week this week. So I finished my little mini cut and I just decided to have a bit of a rest week basically before I kind of go into my next program and start looking at a bit of a kind of lean bulk, increasing my calories to just above a surplus again. I'm kind of like a bit of a love-hate relationship with deload week. Basically what I'm doing is maybe 2 or 3, I'm going to turn the engine off because this is probably a waste of fuel. Anyway, so basically I'm going to do 2 or 3 sessions this week and do like a couple of sets, 2 or 3 sets max, and do probably half the weight that I'd normally do, and just kind of take it a bit chilled basically, and just go in and move my body rather than looking to progress or overload any of the exercises that I'm doing. So today I've just done a little bit of a kind of upper body session. So I'll insert a few clips here. Apologies for the quality of the video. I filmed them in portrait, and for one of them, basically all you can see is my hair, but hey, you get an idea of what I'm doing. So as you'll see, I'm only doing a few exercises really for my upper body. I actually just picked a few, so I didn't particularly follow a program. I didn't kind of continue the program I've been doing. I just picked a few that I fancied doing basically. And yeah, I'll show you a few clips of them. I didn't film doing chest press just because I find it really hard to film me lying flat on a bench without looking like an absolute weirdo trying to set that up. So I didn't film that one, but I filmed the others. And then I actually just finished with a 15-minute Stairmaster climb. I have been adding in a bit of cardio here and there. It's funny because I've probably been, I guess, going through the HA process, I had to completely cut out cardio. So I got used to just not doing any. And yeah, definitely wasn't complaining. But recently I've decided that I fancy just getting a little bit fitter again. I felt like my cardiovascular fitness had kind of declined quite a bit. So this wasn't really anything to do with the cut or anything, but I've maybe been trying, I mean, and it's hardly anything in comparison to what some people do, but I've maybe been trying to do like 15 minutes on the Stairmaster, probably only once a week, maybe twice a week. I've done a little bit of extra cardio, and I just want to build that up again. It's nothing to do with fat loss or anything like that. It's purely just to try and build up my fitness. And I am contemplating, this is contemplating by the way, doing a little bit more running and starting up running again, because I used to go for like maybe 1 run a week and actually used to quite enjoy it. And then I just kind of fell out of love with it. And then obviously going through HA process, I didn't do any running at all, because it's probably one of the worst things you can do during HA recovery, just because of the stress on your body. But I'm tempted to start doing like small little 5K runs here and there. But we'll see. I'll let you know. Let you know if that actually happens, or whether I just contemplate it and don't actually bother. Yeah, so I'll show you a few clips of the gym session that I've just done, and then I'm going to go home, get a little bit of post-workout brekkie. I've already had my 2 slices of toast before I went to the gym, because it's currently like 9 o'clock, so I tend to have like 2 slices of toast at about 7 with like peanut butter and jam on. It's like a really good pre-workout breakfast, and I'll do that regardless of the session. So even though it was quite an easy session this morning, I'd still make sure I ate that amount. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. If I'm going to exercise, I'll eat quite a large amount before. And then I'll always have a post-workout breakfast, and it's generally one that's higher in protein. So I tend to have more carbs before and then more protein after my workout. So yeah, so I'm going to go home and grab that, and then I will chat to you a little bit more about the cut. So in this exercise, I'm basically just doing pull-ups. I'm using a red band for the pull-ups, and I'm doing about 5 reps. So I'd normally do 4 sets of about 6 or 7 reps, and I reduced it to 5 reps for 3 sets. As you can see, for this exercise, I'm doing lat pull downs. I reduced the weight by about 5 kg for this one and just did 3 sets of 8 reps. So the reps and the sets have actually stayed the same, but I reduced the weight by quite a bit. I then did a superset of shoulder presses followed by front raises. I reduced the weight for this one and also the reps as well. So I did 12 kg for about 6 or 7 reps, and for front raises I used 4 kg for about 10 reps, whereas I'd normally do at least 8 for both. Brilliant filming on this one. So basically just doing seated face pulls. So for this one I'd normally do 5 sets, and I'd actually go to failure on each one as kind of my last exercise for the session, but for this time I just went quite light and did 10 reps for 3 sets. So as I mentioned, I also did some chest presses, and then I kind of finished with a bit of a play around of handstands. I'm going to try and focus a little bit on doing handstand push-ups. Really far off right now, as you can see, but yeah, it's just a bit of a fun way to end a session. So I'm just having my post-workout second breakfast now. As I mentioned, it's mainly just a load of protein, so I've got some yogurt, and I've mixed that with a few raspberry flavoured drops, and then some buckwheat puffs. I get these from Holland and Barrett, and they're just really nice, a bit just like cereal, but yeah, they're really good. And then I top with my protein maple syrup. My whole outfit as well that I've been wearing to the gym, which I'm loving at the moment, is my protein code. Clean Lean does get you 37% off, and they often have sales, and you still get added discount on the sales with my code as well. And I'll leave my support link in the description below. But anywho, enough of that. So yeah, gonna have this now. I'm actually working from home today, so I'm just gonna get on with a little bit of work this morning, and then I'll maybe update you near lunchtime just in terms of the mini cut and things like that. It's not going to necessarily be a what I eat in a day video, but I'll probably show you a few of my meals, maybe my lunch as well, and then I might just do another what I eat in a day video if you guys are interested. So yeah, this is breakfast number 2. Well, that was an epic lunch. God, I just love smoked salmon and cream cheese bagel. So good. Actually, for the past couple of weeks, me and my boyfriend have been eating predominantly plant-based. So actually, that was the first time I'd had any meat or fish in a couple of weeks. We just decided we just fancied a change. I was previously vegetarian for 15 years. So for me, I was like, okay, cool. I'm quite happy to go pretty much veggie. We're still having dairy and things like that, so not like vegan or anything, but yeah, just more plant-based. And I guess the idea for us was just to try it out and see whether he enjoyed it more than anything else, because I knew I would. And then we'll maybe just try and eat more plant-based meals across the week, and maybe just 1 or 2 meat or fish meals. So anyway, I thought I'd obviously do a little bit of an update like I mentioned. So I've just finished the mini cut last week after about 9 weeks or so of that mini cut. No drastic changes. As I discussed in my video where I mentioned I was going into the mini cut, the idea behind it was more for me to do a bit of body recomp, so drop a little bit of body fat in order to kind of go into another phase where I want to just build a little bit more muscle, which will require me to go back into another calorie surplus. So overall, I lost a few kg, so I think it was about 3 kg overall. I made sure I didn't go below the weight I was when I got my period back, because I figured that that's obviously a weight my body was happy at, because that's when I got my period back, so I didn't go below that. And yeah, it was just basically a quick period of time where I was in deficit, lost a bit of body fat, but actually, to be honest, I didn't see many negative side effects from it. So yeah, I had days where I was hungrier than others and my energy dipped in some of my training sessions and that kind of thing. But because the calories were never that low, they were still pretty high throughout, and I literally stayed on the same amount of calories, so I didn't need to then reduce them further. It was just the same amount of calories throughout that 9 weeks. And I didn't really adapt to anything else. I didn't change the training I was doing. So I was doing 5 gym-based sessions a week. And like I mentioned earlier, I did add in a tiny bit of cardio for fitness. And I did do the odd like boxing session that I wouldn't have previously done. So I was probably expending a little bit more energy, which is probably why I didn't need to then adjust the calories. My body didn't adapt to the lower calories. So yeah, I just decided to come out of it. I could have gone longer, to be honest. I could have got a bit leaner. It's easy, I think, when you start these things to just want a little bit more, to just think, oh, I could just get an extra kg off, or I could just lose a little bit extra body fat. But I stayed true to the goal that I'd set at the beginning, and that was to drop a few kg, and like I said, to not go below the weight I was when I got my period back. And I stuck to that, and yeah, didn't want to push it any more than I had, and was quite happy with the results that I got at the end of that 9 weeks. So I thought I'd touch a little bit upon things like my period health during that time and any other issues that I did or didn't have. So I started the diet, and about 3 weeks later, around the normal time, I got a period. And then my second one was quite a bit late, and it was another reason why I decided to stop the mini cut. So rather than coming on time, it came probably about a week and a half late. So my cycle length went to about 45 days. That wasn't the longest cycle I've had. I've actually had a longer one, and I wasn't too concerned because I've got a few other medical things going on, which I think has had a bit of an impact, and I've been a bit more stressed, I suppose, because of that. So I think there's a few things that have impacted on it rather than the diet. As like I said, I never felt that hungry. I never felt like I was putting my body through a lot of stress in that way. So I feel like it's more been a few other things that have been going on that maybe just caused it to be a little bit late, or it could have just been one of those things. But at the point of me deciding to stop the cut, I still hadn't got that second period. And for me, I've always said that that is the most important thing. So rather than just continuing and hoping it comes, I just decided to cut it there. My period did come, so like I say, there was no issues there. If your cycles start to increase in length, that's usually a sign that your body's not quite happy. So I had been quite consistently getting them at around 33 days, I think it was, which is still longer than some people, but that was becoming my average. So to go from 33 days to adding on another 11 days, that's quite a big difference. So even if the diet wasn't having an impact, I felt like I didn't want to run the risk of that happening again next month. So although I don't feel like the mini cut did impact on my period, I think for those who have gone through HA, you're always going to be a lot more susceptible to your body having little wobbles or being a little bit temperamental when it comes to dieting. And I think it's just about keeping the balance with that. And I did try to do a lot of things throughout the mini cut to avoid any issues. So keeping my carbs as high as I possibly could, as well as making sure my fats were high enough. Those two things I really prioritized because I know they do impact on hormonal health. Keeping in things that I actually took during HA recovery, so just things like flaxseed and maca powder, trying to optimize everything basically. I made sure I ate a lot around training, like I did through HA recovery. I really tried to prioritize sleep. I made sure I had enough rest days. I didn't train more than 5 days a week. I think overall, by trying to keep things as optimal as possible during that time where I was cutting calories, I was able to maintain my period. And even though, like I said, the one was late, I still feel like that was more because of other things rather than the cut. So would I do it again? Yes, I would quite happily do it again, because I feel like I know how far I can push my body and how far I can't. And I knew that I was getting to the point where if I kept pushing, I probably would have been pushing my body too far, but I felt like I stopped at just the right point. So it is a really individual one. So this is not me saying that those who have recovered from HA can go and go into a deficit in diet. Not at all. It completely depends on your circumstances, on your background, what your mental state is like with food and exercise. So for me, I've never had a really restrictive approach to food, and I've never got consumed by tracking or by numbers. It's not been about necessarily how I've looked. Obviously, losing a little bit of extra body fat has probably made me feel a little bit better in myself, but that's not what it was about. That was not the primary goal. And I think you've got to be careful that your mindset is right before you decide to go into any kind of deficit or attempt to lose weight. And I was 9 or 10 months post HA recovery, and I do feel like you need to give your body a good amount of time with a regular cycle and making sure your body is in a really good place before you even consider any kind of diet. And like I said, mine wasn't really for that. It wasn't for aesthetics purposes. It was more to optimize where I was at to go into the next phase, which for me is actually going to be to go back into a surplus and build muscle. So at the moment, I'm kind of hovering around maintenance calories for a couple of weeks, just to check that my maintenance is where I think it is, and just so I don't go straight back into putting on a lot of body fat initially. I want to do it slowly so that I'm more likely to be building muscle than body fat. So yeah, that's where I'm kind of at now. That was probably just a bit of a ramble. Any questions on the cut, let me know below, or if there's anything else you want me to cover, more than happy to answer them. Like I say, I'm not saying that this is a good thing for everyone to do. I really do think it depends on where you're at. But I hope it also kind of makes people realise that actually HA isn't necessarily forever, and you are able to change your goals and potentially lose weight if that's important to you, as long as you do it in the right way. And that's why I wanted to share a little bit about it. I haven't shared much, but I thought it'd be useful to share a little bit, just so that you know that HA isn't forever, and yeah, you can also have a different goal in the future, and that can involve losing a little bit of weight, that can involve more exercise, and your body can cope with that, your body can adapt to that, but it's knowing your body's limits. So I think I'm going to probably end the video there, because the main focus for me for this video was just basically to update you all on that. So like I say, going forward, my calories are going to start to increase again. I'm going to be hitting numbers calories wise near to where I was hitting during HA recovery, which is kind of cool again. I'm more than happy to share a little bit more of that with you, as well as, like I said in the beginning of the video, anything on HA that you'd like to know more about. Comment below and let me know if you want to see more videos or not, and I'll try and be a little bit more consistent again with them. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.